to offset the cost of the system.
It's cost of
Right.
providing anything.
Just to clarify.
I don't disagree with that.
Two things.
Mr. Kiznak?
From what I remember, the city of Chicago was going to raise our rates maybe 2.5, 3 times over the next couple of years or so. So I think that's a bad place that would put an undue burden on the residents by turning around and adding more to the cost of their water. Number two, I'd like to ask the question of the 2 new board members. The village board strongly supported home rule last time it was put forth. Tell me what you think and why or why not we should have that. I think we should push for that. I'd like to hear your comments, please.
My comment would be, I think we need to look at all alternatives. I think we need to have a town hall meeting that discusses all of the options for revenue creation. I think that's one of the options. I don't think that's the only option.
I'm sorry, it's like a yes or no question. Are you in favor of home rule, which gives us the ability to raise money from non-residents as well as residents?
Right now, we collect a 1% utility tax from non-resident, from utilities on gas and electric. We also collect a 1%, believe, liquor tax at, right now, non-home rule. So we already are collecting taxes from non-residents for purchases. So whether we go whether you call it home rule or non-home rule, what I'm saying is the first priority is to fix the policy issues that we've just discussed about our current finances. If we get the road plan and the infrastructure plan that Ed is putting together with Brian and myself, we have to get the price tag for all of these things. We don't have the price tag right now. The documents I'm looking at are from 2006. And we had this discussion last meeting, in a very heated discussion. There is no plan. So for me to answer your question, whether I favor home rule, until I understand, to Carol's point, what do we have to cover here? What do we have to cover for infrastructure? What do we have to cover for water and sewer? We either have to go raise the money by going out and getting bonds for these things and raising the money that way, which the mayor has said we have about a $12 million bond capability potentially, okay, which was figured out several years ago. Or if we can't get the bonds and we can't raise the money that way, sir, then we'll maybe only have another option. And that is either to go out for another referendum, which is another option. And during the campaign, people said they would pay a referendum, for a referendum, if they knew specifically what the money was going to be used for. People would prefer that rather than home rule. People would prefer a referendum for specific items relating to infrastructure rather than home rule. That's the message I got from the campaign. So if we go through this very tenacious process of figuring this out together, what do we have to get? What money do we need? Very closely to, we don't have to have exactly, but what do we need for sewer and water? What do we need for this bucket list we're putting together? Then we can figure out, do we go to a referendum? Do we go for home rule? What is the best thing to do for our future? But I will tell you, I heard from people in the campaign that they would prefer to vote on a specific referendum that has a start and end point.
Which I think we had last time that was voted down.
Correct, but that was voted down because people did not feel confident that the village had a plan. And people said to me personally, if the village had a plan and it was well communicated, we would vote for the referendum. That's the message I heard.
I was here when they talked about it. It was police. It was police for one thing, which was hard to understand why we didn't get police.
So the fact
And,
we don't
and,
have
road, and road repairs.
right. So the fact we don't have a plan, right? So everybody's saying, yeah, we need these things. Yes. What do we need in public works right now? I still have this from 8 years ago. So people are asking for a plan, and I am a firm believer. If we have a plan, we may disagree on some of the elements of the plan, right? But if we can get to some consensus on the plan, we can go out and support it with our citizens to say, we go to referendum and we need this money. So I would prefer to go to referendum first, myself personally, even though we are not in a campaign situation. And I would not want to sit here and talk to you about it's not about my personal opinion. It's about, as a consensus, what we decide is the best thing for our village. So I will change your question to be that. I think a referendum is first, and if we can't raise the money that way, we gotta come back together and figure out what are we gonna do next. I do not personally think that home rule is the best idea for our village. But you know what, I will remain open-minded about it. For people in the audience that wanna talk about home rule, I know there are other opinions on this board, and I'm open to listening to those opinions.
I think there's one best way. It's gonna be a combination of things.
Right? So we
When
have
you
to
take a look
figure
at the
out.
volume of stuff that needs to be done.
Mr. Swindell said last week, we need a plan. And what we're trying to work on right now is we have policy wish lists that we have to put on the agenda. We have to get a plan figured out and our bucket list figured out. After we do that, then we can come back to all of you in the audience and say, this is where we're at. As Mr. Corcoran said, we have not appropriately depreciated our village assets. We do not have an asset management strategy. If we were in private industry, we would have been kicked out because our depreciation and our assets, we have asset management strategies where we show this type, we account for depreciation. No matter if it's a street light or a pavement or a water system. So we haven't done that, and we are gonna start to do that. And you know what? The total may be big, and we're all gonna have to figure it out.
Trustee Watt?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on, I have to totally agree with what Amy has to say, that until you get the full picture, you really can't determine whether we want home rule or whether we want to go referendum. We need the whole picture. And once we gather up all the information, get the full picture, then we'll be able to determine at that time. And like Amy says too, and I agree with her 100%, it's not about what I feel, it's about what you guys feel. And that's what we need to deliver the whole picture to you guys and let you decide on what you would like to do. We'll guide you, we'll give you the information in that, but it's about what you want to do as well. And it's not just what the board here wants to do.
Was there another hand up?
Well, I was going to make a comment regarding the mayor of LaGrange. Yes, I did read that he doesn't want his salary, but quoting from a local newspaper, he's going to wait and analyze. Because right now, he is spending money on gas, meeting other officials from other communities, and he's paying for the dinners. So he wants to see what all these costs are based on a salary.
Mr. Corcoran?
Quick one.
and back.
Who is responsible for enforcement of, building permits? Do the police kind of keep an eye out if they see activity? Do they look that there's a permit displayed, or?
Right, if they see something out there, because we don't have a, code enforcement, right, they'd be out there, they would notify us, me, and then we would notify the person that's doing it. Or if it's a job, we've stopped a few jobs in the past, so you can stop work if you come in for a permit.
Just a suggestion, the whole scofflaw sticker, is there any reason we can't, give people a chance, give them a warning, but then is there any reason we can't publish a list of registered vehicles that don't have village stickers?
I'm not quite sure if you can go ahead and publish that because you're listing names that's private. Even under the freedom of information, you have to remove names and addresses.
I am not Mary Urena, 6402 Arrowhead Court. I know nothing about this, but it seems to me that the Department of Motor Vehicles would be able to give a list of vehicles that are registered in Indian Head Park.
We do get a list.
And you cross-check that, send them a warning?
The only thing we can do with that list, yes, is send out a letter. We can't send them a ticket. Tickets have to be issued. You just can't mail them a ticket.
No, but if they get a warning and there's an end to the warning period and they don't buy the sticker, then you can't find them?
No. we got to issue them a ticket, but we got to catch the person. Now, that list comes back to the police department, I pass it out to watch the house, if you see the car pulling in, you know, stop them before they get in. There's other things we can do, I talked to the new trustees, I talked to the old trustees about it. And, you know, if I should see the report lines or something like that, early morning hours, but that's a whole policy issue to be discussed. But it's difficult, and even the other departments I work for was the same issues, how do you enforce it, how do you have to physically give them things.
Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to, oh, sorry, Norm, I'm
Back to
focused here.
back to our budget here, this is just a personal note, I personally want to thank Frank and Dave for all the time and effort and work that they put in on this, whether people think it's a good budget or a bad budget or in between. I'm going to say one way or the other, but I know they put in an awful lot of time and effort on these things, and it starts long before some of you think it does.
And thank you, Norm, because I know you put in time with these guys as well. Okay, hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2013-2014 as presented this evening, which is the revised budget. Moved by trustee Schnoffer, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Walsh. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schnoffer.
Yes.
Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Bailey.
Yes.
Trustee O'Loughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Whittenberg.
No.
Motion passes. Mayor, we have 4 yeses, 1 no.
Okay, and the motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is questions or comments from the audience about other matters than budget. Please. Oh,
I do one comment. Mr. Mayor, I see that we are, there's videotapes of this meeting, which I have no problem with. I think it's wonderful. I think we should videotape our meetings. But what I'm going to recommend is, I think now, we've never had this before. In fact, I don't think in my numerous years in the village, I don't think we've ever had anyone videotape a meeting. I don't think it's ever been recorded as far as I know. There probably are some privacy issues with individuals recording things. We probably need to have, correct me if I'm wrong, Council, some type of notification that these meetings will be recorded. But what I would recommend, and I'm willing to volunteer or donate a camera or buy a camera as fit, so that the village can actually record these meetings. So we have an official record of these meetings, and then it can be posted on the website. And nothing against Ms. Metz, I think it's wonderful she does it. My concern, obviously, is if we have 9 people recording the meetings, there's no official record of the meeting, and then people can edit it however they want to edit it, and then we don't have an official record of the meeting, and we could run into FOIA problems and a bunch of different issues. So I will donate a camera to the meeting. I would ask that all meetings be recorded going forward, be the official recording of the meeting, whether it's our village clerk or Kathy does it, and then it'll be kept in the village, and then we have an official record of our meetings.
Well, I appreciate the offer, and we'll accept the donation of the camera. The mechanics behind affecting just what you said, I don't have any objection myself personally. We need to decide, who's going to operate the camera on behalf of the village. How do we make that available? So that I would suggest we'll take up at another board meeting.
But I will donate the camera before the next board meeting, so we're ready to do it.
It's a matter of record. Thank you. Anybody else?
I believe there's nothing against anybody videotaping the meetings.
Chris, I'm not objecting to it at all. In fact, I think it's wonderful that the meetings are being recorded, and I think people should all go to the website and look at it. My only concern is that, we don't have an official record of the meeting being videotaped. So as a village, we have obligations, and if we're going to have an official record and allow people to videotape, I think we should have an official record. If Ms. Metz still wants to videotape it, she's more than welcome to do so. The issue is that if we're going to have a videotape available to the village, I think it should be made available to everyone in the village. So put it on the website, and that way everyone in the village can watch it, and there we go.
I'd like to make a suggestion that you also put it on the village channel.
You know, we may
Because
do
not
that.
everybody
Well, I
gets
don't
it.
know the logistics of that, and we'd have to talk about that. That could be a decision that the board would make. I don't recall whether everyone in the village gets the village channel.
No, but not everybody looks at the website either, so it'd be a nice way to sort of cover everybody.
I think at this point, that's something we all should consider, and I think we can talk about that. I think initially it may be easier to put on the village website, and then discuss what our capabilities are for the village channel. But we may not be opposed to that. If we all vote yes on that, that may be okay too.
Well, in the meantime, you can look at my blog.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I had some time back, and then Dave had some personal family issues to have dealt with, but I know he had started working so that currently our government channel is available only to the Comcast subscribers. Dave and I and Frank have met with AT&T people over, actually probably a year and a half, but I think it was
Close
last
to a year
fall.
ago, they have some pretty hefty technological requirements to get it on first, but they're not, they've come a long way than, it wasn't even an option a couple of years ago. I mean, we would have had to buy a new $10,000 air conditioning unit just for that office. 2 3/4-inch firewall plywoods, a rack. I mean, half that office would be gone, and but they've gotten a lot smaller. I'm just, we were hoping to get a rack donated to save us money. That fell through, and then my family issues happened. I will kickstart it again and see exactly. Maybe since it's been another year, it might even be smaller, and the requirements may be even less now. I'll get in contact with that lady.
Just a comment, Jake Wittenberg again. Well, it's actually a question. Speaking about donations and things, we have a very generous village. People are definitely willing to contribute time, supplies, those types of things. Is there a way that the village could come out with a list, a wish list of items that may be low cost, easy office supplies, these small things that people would be, I don't want to say more than happy. I don't want to speak for anybody besides myself, but just an easy way to say, as a village, we're looking for these things. If we get these things, we can cross them off the budget. We can, save the cost for them. We can, move that money elsewhere or save it. Right, but I think that, the board could look into that too, is just coming out and saying, January 1st, we need to get these items by January 30th. If not, we're going to appropriate for them. And I'm just throwing that, dates out there randomly, but we need to appropriate for them. If we get them, thank you very much. We appreciate your generous donation.
And you could even thank them in a smoke signals.
Right now, people can make donations to the village, as the Women's Club does to the Heritage Center for landscaping, for example. Was it Burr Ridge that
Yes.
they asked
Oh,
for?
Mayor, it was
Yeah.
Burr Ridge,
Yeah.
and they couldn't afford, I think it was it radios for their squad cars? So they couldn't afford it, so they put out a plea to the residents, and they got the money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've donated
But
all
that
over
was-
the vast over time.
There was the money for the purpose. I understood the
They're doing
suggestion to
wish
be
lists.
to actually,
Doing wish
if we
lists.
need 10 reams of paper, somebody might go to.
And just to further elaborate, I think there are many ways, even online, where people can obtain funding for projects. Individual, their own, I want to build a great, a model airplane, please give me $75 to achieve this goal. And you would think it would seem like that wouldn't be something anybody would ever give money to. But it turns out that, websites like Indiegogo and things like this have had incredible success with raising public funds for private people to go do the things that they want to do, they need to do, that kind of thing. So I'm not suggesting anything of that scope. What I am suggesting is, as a start, come out with a list. We say we need these office supplies, we need this, or we do go as far as to have an online fundraising project for an earmarked thing that people know once they give their money, they're going to be able to see the reward that comes with it. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying we make that full leap and do something, that far out, but I am suggesting that there be some type of donation list. The village needs for September these 3 things. And if they get donated, then we save the money. If they don't, we already had the money budgeted, so we don't have any real loss.
Could be a computer, it could be reams of you know,
Right.
cases of paper.
Right.
We gotta start, Matt, Mr. Walsh already.
Exactly.
Maybe you guys started a trend, right?
Well, why not? I mean, I think we have a very generous community, and I think that if people know that and can see that their donations are going towards making the village a better place,
And it's a
saving us
specific
money.
request.
Right. Specific things that they know, they can
Just like
put a finger on exactly what they did for the village. I think they're going to be that much more inspired to do something than just, here, village, here's $50, go spend it how you see fit.
I think that's something that's worth looking into, that we could come up with and maybe start small and see how it goes and then add on to it. Obviously we like toner for a copy machine has to be specific to the
Right.
machine, not just we need toner.
Right.
But maybe we can start with the first item on the list. We need 400 tons of road salt by December 1st. So if you would like to donate that or a couple of pounds.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Slam.
Anyway, we can look at that and work on it.
Like you said, Mayor, start small and then go from there, and it's no cost to us, so why not do it?
And you can request specific toner types.
Yeah.
Why not?
Anything else? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by trustee Walsh, is there a second?
One second.
Second by trustee O'Loughlin, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any chair? Ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned. Is closed. Have a 4th of July.